Welcome back, everyone, to this special Memorial Day tribute. This is where we remember some of the fallen military from our region who served in Afghanistan and Iraq. The Regan family of Manhasset, they remember their loved one today, Sergeant James J. Regan, who was killed in Iraq in February of 2007. He was 26 years of age and already serving his fourth tour of duty, having serving 2 in Afghanistan and 1 prior in Iraq. Rich Barabi spoke with Jimmy's father.
They're the most elite and highly trained direct action force that we have in the military today.
To hear Jim Regan talk about the U.S. Army Rangers is to hear a man speak with the kind of admiration and respect that is hard to find.
They're versed in jungle warfare, mountain terrain, urban combat. They're the best of the best.
You see, Jim has a special bond with this elite unit of soldiers. He speaks as the proud father of a Ranger. Jim's son Jimmy served as an Army Ranger until he was tragically killed while deployed in Iraq.
Jimmy was in his fourth tour of duty when he was killed. He had 2 in Afghanistan and 2 in Iraq.
It was February of 2007. The United States military was entrenched at some of its most difficult days fighting in Iraq, and Sergeant James J. Regan found himself right in the middle of the action.
Jimmy was 26 and a half years old when he was killed. So Jimmy knew what he was getting into. Jimmy was a highly educated kid from Duke. He was a Chaminade graduate. He was an All-American athlete. He knew what he was getting into. He knew the kind of fight that was happening.
It was a risk that Jimmy and his family had acknowledged and accepted, but that did little to lessen the blow when Jim and his family received the heartbreaking news.
We all knew that, but you never expect one not to come home.
The next few weeks were a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Jimmy had been killed, but his death had not been in vain, and Jim and the rest of his family had some visitors who drove that point home.
We had the opportunity of meeting about 15 of these young men when they came up for Jimmy's funeral, and they spent about almost 2 weeks with us. So through that process, we were very, very impressed with them.
Some of the Rangers that served with your son, what did they tell you about him when they came and visited your family?
Yeah, it was really special. It was a special time in a lot of ways, right? It's bittersweet, bittersweet. Jimmy was a very interesting kid, very interesting, very well educated, and he walked the walk. And my understanding, he was a very good soldier.
Jim and his family knew that they wanted to honor the memory of Jimmy and the men who fought alongside of him, and so they started to look into ways they could be of service to the Rangers and their families.
We just did not want to recreate the wheel. So part of our due diligence was to check into different foundations.
What Jim had found in his research was that although there are many different foundations designed to aid military personnel, to his knowledge, there had not ever been one dedicated specifically to the Army Rangers. That was about to change.
The main objective that we feel in this organization is really to focus on the Ranger and the family unit.
Later on that year, Jim, along with a host of family and friends, created the Ranger Lead the Way Fund, named for the Rangers' motto.
What do you think he would say to you about this effort?
He would be very embarrassed. Very embarrassed. But I think very proud.
For more information, please visit leadthewayfund.org.